Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is now episode 55 of the Fourth and Long podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Ross Allen, joined alongside for the first time in a while, Jalen. It's a pleasure to have you back. It feels like a year. Oh, we should have waited to record this next year. So we've been, we haven't recorded one of these since last year.
Last year, that would have been crazy. The best dad joke
so
ever.
much. I hate this joke. Of course, this show is going to be out on the first of the year, so technically, we can do this, Jalen. We haven't posted one of these episodic podcasts since last year.
Oh, yeah. See, there you go.
The
You
genius
just waited.
of my show planning and publishing, it's unrivaled. But we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. Of course, a little bit of NFL stuff. We covered most of that in our weekly NFL breakdowns. Me and Alex Kropp break the hell out of things. So you can go check that out. Twitter at Fourth Long Radio, www.thefourthandlong.com, and also Instagram at Fourth and Long Radio. But we got that stuff, Jalen, and bring it back because the NBA season's finally here. We're 1 week in the book, so we got plenty of stuff to talk about already. Jalen's going to give us his top 5 power rankings out as of right now. MLB, the Padres are not just loading up, but they're trying to be pretty much the best team in the league at this point with what they brought in recently over the just past couple days alone. Then also we will give you our predictions for the 2020 NCAA playoffs. But Jalen, let's get things started with some interesting news. Bill Belichick is reportedly, this roommate that's been going around for the past couple days, he's reportedly interested in bringing in Jets head coach Adam Gase as a quarterback coach. Of course, Adam Gase, very likely, Jets ownership kind of released a statement saying he's probably not going to be here next year, which is good. It's about damn time. It took him long enough. But Belichick has said that Sam Darnold is receiving the best coaching he can right now.
Yeah.
I don't buy it.
No, I don't think he's receiving the best coaching he could. I think he could be receiving a slightly better coaching. Honestly, I think the team around him could be a lot better. I think he's kind of trying to do more with the little he has. I think this might be an attempt to drag Sam Darnold with Adam Gase to the Patriots. I think with the Patriots not losing enough to win the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes, I think they're probably going to end up drafting a guy and trying to bring someone else young in. Cam Newton is on a minimum contract 1 year, so he's probably gone after this year. I don't see them re-signing him. I see Jarrett Stidham.
Which will be their only quarterback under contract at the start of next year.
Yes, will be their only quarterback under contract. And I think it'll be either Sam Darnold with the Patriots at some point, whether that's through trade or Sam Darnold gets released after losing a quarterback battle with somebody. Or I see Gardner Minshew, as me and you talked about earlier. I see
also something, don't mean to interrupt, but also I talked about this heavy on our Week 16 NFL breakdown. I say 100% Gardner Minshew is going to the Patriots. You can check out what team Alex thinks that Gardner Minshew is going over on our channel. But
I have Gardner Minshew either going to the Patriots, unless Patriots find somebody else. I think my second team I would put him on is the Bears. I think he's going to follow in the footsteps of Nick Foles and go Bears to Jaguars.
I wouldn't be too bad. It would not be too bad. With that one. But with this, Bill Belichick, obviously, he's seeing something that we don't see, much like Sam Darnold can see ghosts. Bill Belichick can see a legit coach in Adam Gase, which is, I
feel like that's the most far-fetched idea that we've talked about.
I truly believe Sam Darnold, there's a higher chance of Sam Darnold seeing ghosts on the football field than there is in Belichick actually seeing a good coach, Adam Gase. But
I think he's just kind of like crapping on his
Is this resume. Another Bill Belichick 4D chess, or is he actually just being honest? I can never tell with him. I don't know. It's stupid, but
he's obviously losing his mind. He was seen throwing a phone, losing in that losing.
That's the worst I've ever seen him.
He was pissed, and I've never seen Belichick show so much emotion at one time.
Obviously, something is not right. It must be the Subway. Subway's getting to. So we all saw what happened to the last big Subway spokesperson. We don't need to get into that debacle. And now with Belichick being the new guy, there's a curse. The Subway curse. It's alive and well. But also, please, no. Moving on, going from one
song.
quarterback curse to another, we got this curse. Then another curse is any quarterback that ever goes to Washington ever, because we all know the bad stuff that happens to them. And now the most recent one is Dwayne Haskins. Of course, he got cut. He became, I think, the 6th quarterback of ever to be a first-round draft pick and not spend more than 3 seasons with the team that he was drafted to. Of course, other quarterbacks from that were we talked about this in the NFL breakdown. You got guys from Arizona, you got guys from Denver, and then you also have guys from forget the other team, but it's not a good list. And so
Josh Rosen. I remember
Josh Rosen. Not the Paxton Lynch, not good. Tim Tebow, not good. Well, he won the playoff game, best one out of that list, but
Yeah.
Whatever. We saw how long his career lasted. But some of the early teams that are interested in Dwayne Haskins are the Rams, Steelers, Lions, Niners, and most heavily kind of looking like it is the Carolina Panthers. Of course, he's probably he cleared waivers. It would have been dumb to sign him because whoever signed and claimed him off of waivers would probably have to owe, I think it's between $4.2 or $4.8 million over the next 2 seasons of guaranteed money. So you avoid that. It's time to a new contract. Probably not going to be signed until the new league season, which technically is Monday. So where do you think he goes? Where's the best spot for Dwayne Haskins?
I think the best spot for him, I mean, I like the Steelers. Honestly, I do like the Steelers. That was a good look for him, but I think he's going to end up having to battle with Mason Rudolph to be the successor for Ben Roethlisberger, and I think he loses that one out. So I do see him ending up with the Panthers. I think he's going to end up being behind Teddy Bridgewater and MVP Jay Walker.
Rightfully so, should be behind him because MVP Jay Walker, of course, the greatest quarterback in XFL history.
Yes. I think he ends up there. I feel like that's 2 great quarterbacks to learn behind. I think he gains enough information and knowledge from those 2 guys. I think he learns enough to when Teddy Bridgewater's contract kind of gets near the end, I think he's able to compete and show that he knows the playbook enough to actually get some play time. And then obviously he's still a young guy. He can be the quarterback of the future if he develops how everyone thought he would coming out of college.
Right now, I kind of think it might be the Rams in this situation, depending on how long that Jared Goff is going to be out for. Of course, we have to put some respect on the quarterback that's stepping in for their pretty much must-win game this week in Week 17 against your Arizona Cardinals, which is a must-win game for both teams in terms of playoff hopes. But stepping in is none other than AAF, Arizona Hotshots legend John Wolford, undrafted free agent at Wake Forest, never thrown an NFL pass, but that doesn't matter because he was the man for our actually favorite AAF team for the 4 or 5 weeks. I think 4 weeks that it lasted until they went bankrupt.
We made it 6, didn't we?
Did they make it 6? I think the
XFL made it 6. I think they made it about 4 or 5.
XFL made it 5.
That's what week 6 was about to happen, and then they shut down.
Then the Rona, of course. We need spring football. We'll talk a little more about spring football here in a second. But they got him. But Dwayne Haskins could be fine for there. I'm sure if anyone could find a role for him, it's Sean McVay. But at the same time, I just don't think he's a good quarterback. I don't know if he's worth the baggage that he brings along with him. You could call like sophomore mistakes, not even rookie mistakes anymore. I just don't like the guy. That was a bad pick. And obviously, it showed when you get benched for a backup quarterback from the XFL St. Louis Battlehawks in Heineke, that's probably not the best of signs. But
it's probably not the best.
Yeah, sign. No, it is.
I don't think it was more his skill. I think it was just kind of like the trust has been lost there. Yeah. And I think they decided to go in another direction just to show that they lost their trust. Another team that I didn't really mention that probably will end up picking them up as the Lions that are on our list. The Lions don't have a quarterback of the future right now. They have they have decent backups right now, but nobody who you would be like, this is going to be our quarterback after Matthew Stafford. And Matthew Stafford, as of late, has been tearing his body apart to make the Lions better.
Only as of late, it's been like this his whole career.
Yeah, but as of late has been even worse.
I feel so bad for him. The most underrated quarterback in the league, of course. But going from talking about the Washington football team's ex-quarterback, let's talk about their division, because in the NFC East, division champion, the playoff spot on the line comes down to the last week of the NFL season. Now, the scenarios we got right now for either Washington, the Cowboys, or the Giants can win the division still. With Washington, it's a win against the Eagles, and they take the division, or they could tie and have a Dallas loss or tie. For the Cowboys, they have to beat the Giants, and they have to have Washington lose or tie. Or if they tie and Washington loses, they win the division. And with the Giants, it's a win against the Cowboys and a Washington loss. But also here with the Giants, they're one of the only teams that has a chance to not only make the playoffs as division champion, they also still have the chance, Jalen, to get the number 3 overall pick in the draft.
Yes.
So...
Pick your poison. Lose in the first round of playoffs or get a top 3 pick.
It's so stupid how that is actually possible. But the question here is, Jalen, who do you think is going to win this division?
I think Washington wins it, honestly. Washington's playing the Eagles. I think they have a good chance of winning it, but the whole big question there is who's playing quarterback this week. I think that's where it's going to come down to. I think if Alex Smith plays, I think they have a really good shot at winning this week. I think if he doesn't play, I think Jalen Hurts upsets them and sends them both home for the playoffs. And I think it comes down to the Cowboys and Giants game, which is a big rivalry already by itself. But with those implications on the line, it makes that rivalry that much better. Right now, what are the records in the NFC East? I forget.
Well, the NFC East, I mean, can we just say not good?
Yeah, but I remember I said nobody would get more than 6 wins.
I believe that's actually what it is close to, because right now they have 6 wins. So Washington 6-9, Cowboys 6-9, Giants 5-10, Eagles 4-10-1. So the division winner is going to have 7 wins unless it's the Giants winning the division.
Wow,
so it's possible. It's possible.
When I first, that was my first show back in a while, and I just made that as a joke. I did not think that we would have.
Well, you can make that as a joke, Jalen, but if the whole division is a joke, is it really a joke? Do the jokes cancel out?
No, I think a double joke would be PEMDAS, I think. Something like that. But yeah, no, this has just been bad. It's been a while since we've had a division this bad. Like we've had a couple. The NFC, what was that? I think it was the NFC North. No, NFC South. A couple years ago when they were all fighting for a playoff spot, but they had like 8-9 wins. That was what we were like.
NFC West also used to be really bad too. Remember when in the AFC West a while ago, you had the 8-8 Broncos winning the division, and that was. At least they went 500. It's not gonna be a sub 500 team winning it. This division, though, I mean, all the jokes, though, it's just the jokes are there for a reason.
I don't think any of them deserve to be in the playoffs.
No, and the unfortunate thing is, I hate to say this because I hate this fan base with the absolute passion, Jalen, and you know this.
Yes.
But I kind of think that the Cowboys are going to sneak into the playoffs because they're getting hot at the right time. Washington. It's going to be a close game against the Eagles with what we've seen recently, especially if Alex Smith isn't playing. That's probably going to be bad news against this. The Eagles team can win. The Giants are good, but I also just don't trust them enough. From what I've seen from the Cowboys recently, they look like the best team in the division. But also, would not surprise me, given the rivalry between the Eagles and the Cowboys, if the Eagles just go out there and purposely lose this game just to screw over the Cowboys.
Yeah, every single time the Washington scores, they like jumping up and down and celebrating. They all have number one football team fans T-shirts on the sideline.
That'd be a sight to see, man. And then like with Alex Smith, speaking about some quarterbacks that are going to be starting in place of the starters, let's talk about one of the ones for the Chiefs. With Chad Henne, he's getting the start for the Chiefs as the Kansas City Chiefs have. Man, how many times are we going to say Chiefs in one sentence? Chiefs. But that Patrick Mahomes is being benched just because he's not a good quarterback. No, it's because they clinched the number 1 seed, so there's not really a big point in doing this. But at the same time, Alex, in our breakdown, was talking how he wants them to at least play him a quarter because their offense has not looked the best recently, especially against the Falcons, only put him 17 points. There's a good reason they probably should have lost the game and at least had it forced overtime. But I really don't think this is the right move. I think Alex is right. You play Patrick Mahomes for at least a couple series to get some reps.
I think you give him a series or two just to kind of get it moving. Yeah, you kind of try to get that motivation back, that swagger back. You score 1 or 2 touchdowns or at least get a touchdown and a field goal.
And the guy that's been throwing 1 or 2 interceptions a game recently.
Yeah, so I think you let him get a swagger back, and then you sit him and you let the young guys play. But I don't think you just completely sit him after that disastrous week where you almost lose to a Falcons team that is absolutely horrible this year. They've gave up so many leads.
Not missing words there.
I think if there was pretty much if it was almost any other team in the league other than like the NFC East, I think they would have won that game in that position. But I just think they're bad, and I think when you almost lose to a team that bad and you only put up 17 points on a team that bad, and you only did it because they missed a field goal. Like, they missed a field goal. They might have lost.
It was tipped. Let's put some respect on young Kwaku. AAF legend as well.
The best kicker in the league. But honestly, it literally came down to a kick. And when it comes down to a kick against a team that bad, I think you have some stuff to work on before the playoffs.
Right. Oh, man. I don't like this. And also with what the Steelers are doing, they're resting Big Ben. Of course, they pretty much had their playoff seeding set. They already won the AFC North, so there's not too much on the line, really. Mason Rudolph gets the start, and this not only is it going to bring back some memories, because we all remember what happened Week 17 of last year, Jalen, with a little, Myles Garrett, a little Mason Rudolph action. We all know what happened there. So, of course, prepare yourselves for everyone watching this game. Prepare yourselves for nonstop replays of that, because that's any time that there isn't a play, anytime there's a pause in the action, we're getting that replay. They're just going to show down our throats.
I think Myles Garrett's going to get a sack at some point, and they're going to be like, at least he didn't use his helmet this time.
Oh, it's so obvious, right? But,
there are going to be so many jokes. Fans, if you want to have a drinking game this weekend,
how many times they go back to this?
Take a shot every time they mention Mason Rudolph getting hit in the head by Myles Garrett.
Jalen, I got to stop you there. I do not want you guys doing this, because I don't want you ending up in the hospital with alcohol poisoning.
And having to get your stomach flushed.
Don't want that. Don't waste your time with that. And then it's really great news for the Browns, though, because this really does take away any excuse they have of missing the playoffs, because they have to win this game essentially to make it after losing to the 1-13 Jets. But that's besides the point. I already gave my rant in our NFL episode. But
yes.
The Browns have to win this game now. If they lose this game and miss the playoffs to Mason Rudolph-led Pittsburgh Steelers, that might be actually the most Pittsburgh or the most Cincinnati or Cleveland Browns thing of all time. And
the name is very forgettable.
Thank you. Just like any sports in that city, very forgettable. They honestly, though, with what's going on, would not surprise me if they lose this game.
Myles Garrett, I hope
Myles Garrett 5 sacks.
I hope he throws a bomb, and then while Myles Garrett is turning around watching the ball, he takes his helmet off and just hits Myles Garrett in the back of the head with his helmet.
No, what's going to happen? We're going to see Mason Rudolph get his revenge. He's going to juke the hell out of Myles Garrett. This is going to happen.
There's going to be a fight. That's all I know. There's going to be some COVID regulations broken this week.
Am I a bad person for saying I hope so?
No.
That's a hockey fan of me. That's a hockey fan. I love a good scrap with that. Then the last little bit of thing about professional football, at least, is that former Browns quarterback Money Johnny Manziel, he's coming back to professional football. He's signing with fan-controlled football, a new football league that's starting early next year in the springtime. And this is a league that I'm honestly super excited about. There hasn't been too much news about this, but I'm super sold. If you go to the website, which you all should, essentially like fan-controlled football, that's no BS with this. It really is, because you get to decide which team. There's 4 teams right now. You get to decide which team you're going to be rooting for. You get, as a fan, you get a say in their Twitter hashtag. You get a say in their uniform. You get a say in their plays that they run during the game, all because like Twitch and Twitch voting and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So if you want your own football team, but you're broke like me and can't afford any bit of ownership, and you're all sick and tired of how crap Madden is, and you don't want to be an owner on that game, we got fan control football, Jay. I'm really excited for this.
I think it's gonna backfire at some point. I feel like there's gonna be like 4th and 20 from like the 35 game line. Someone's gonna be like a halfback dive, and everyone's gonna be like, hell yeah, halfback dive,
fullback dive.
Fullback dive that bitch. Fumblerooski. Do it.
Man, I really that'd be the greatest. I think the coaches still have like an end say in it, or the owners do, or something like that, but the fans don't suggest it. But
I think what it will be is the coach is going to be like, these are the 4 plays I like. Which one do you guys want me to pick?
I'm okay with that. If that gets you even more involved in football, especially more springtime football, which is a must, especially since the XFL isn't going to be back till 2022.
Yes,
I'm all for this. I'm honestly really excited for this, and
I just want to see how it works. Even if it's just funny, I just want to see how it works.
I hope it works out, man. I really do. This is such a cool idea, though. This is a really cool idea, man. And I'm excited for fan control football. John Manziel. It's a guy I kind of feel bad for. I just hope he gets his life back on track, because
I feel like he wasn't the best NFL quarterback, but I feel like if he was given some time to set and develop for a couple of years, I feel like he wouldn't have been like, I don't think he would have been the best quarterback in the league at any point before. I think he'd have been decent. Like I look at some of the other guys in the league who have been given chances, and I'm like, Johnny Manziel could have been in that position a little bit better,
Hey.
So I hope for him.
Let's look forward to this one. But Jalen, as I was talking about when we started the show, a lot of NBA stuff to get going, and what better way to start off with than your top 5 power rankings? So let's get into things.
Yes. So right now in the rankings, obviously there's only been about a week and a half, 2 weeks of basketball. In the Eastern Conference, the top 5 are right now: number 1, the Magic; number 2, the Hawks, Atlanta Hawks. That is not a typo. Number 3, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Number 4, the Pacers. And number 5, the 76ers. I don't know if any of you guys have noticed, but in all those teams I named, about one of those actually made the playoffs last year. The Eastern Conference is doing what the Eastern Conference does. It is the worst of the 2 conferences, and it is starting to look like that right now. All the top teams are lacking right now. The Knicks are the number 17. They would make it, the NBA season stopped right now, the Knicks would be in the playoffs. That's how bad the Eastern Conference is looking right now. Now in the Western Conference, or the actual basketball conference of the NBA, right now, number 1, the Clippers, as expected. Number 2, the Suns. Number 3, the Kings. Number 4, the Jazz. And number 5, the Spurs. As you guys can see from all those standings, it is still early. Some teams are doing better than expected early. And some teams are doing worse than expected early, such as, I think, one of the biggest disappointments so far have been the Rockets, who haven't been able to play because they've been at the strip club. Or not all of them, just James Harden.
Can we get James Harden his own bubble strip club? Can we make that?
His own bubble strip club. He chooses the strippers. They all sanitize, and then they do their stripper thing.
James Harden has a problem, and we should probably actually kind of be word for him and probably help him out with this, because
I hope he's doing good. I hope this is not an Antonio Brown type breakdown.
Oh no! Can anything actually top that?
I don't think so.
I hope not.
All right. On to my power rankings. After going over the actual rankings based off a record, my number 1 team right now is the Nets. The Nets have been looking crazy good, especially when KD and Kyrie are playing. as anyone would expect. I think a lot of people are expecting that combination not to work because Kyrie was seen as a locker room cancer or whatever you want to call him. Obviously, this is working out so far. I think a big trend so far this season has been a lot of like stars sitting out games a lot more frequently. The NBA did say they would be more lenient with how many games they require people to play. So you definitely see that so far this season. We've already seen AD and LeBron sitting out games. We've already seen Kyrie and KD sitting out games. And I think this will just continue as the season goes on. The Nets look legit. Even without KD, they don't look bad without KD. They do look a lot worse. They still look like competitive team without those two playing. Hopefully, I feel like they should play them a lot more because I feel like down the road, near the end of the season, I feel like those games will start adding up if they lose every time KD and Kyrie aren't playing. Number 2 right now for me, I have the Lakers. The Lakers right now, I feel like I have them up here right now more based off of their potential than how they've actually played. They are a 2-2 right now. Obviously, it's early in the season, but I have to do with what I can for what they have done. Lakers look sloppy at times, and at other times you see why they're defending champions. I think they're very, very bipolar in the way they're playing right now. I feel like they need to find a cool middle ground and be good. And then I feel they're going to make playoffs. I don't think it's going to be a long time.
Hey, with the ring like they got for their finals win from last season, you got to go back because that ring was something else. Beautiful. That's a big old rock.
From a Kings fan, that ring was beautiful.
If you have a ring where you could take off the top and it has like the team underneath in the place, if you have designs in the place that you won't even see, that's how you know it's a baller ring. Exactly.
And the number 3, speaking of bipolar, we have the Clippers. The Clippers, I don't know if you've been living under a rock, but at one point during halftime of one of their very recent games, they were losing 77-27 to the Mavs.
You know, Jalen, when that happened, I first saw the news like on Twitter. I saw someone posted a screenshot of the score, and that's Photoshop. So I went to the ESPN app and I looked and I said, "Oh,
oh no, oh,
just that's not good, real. Not good,
not good at all."
I think the opposite of good. It was bad, and not only bad, it was a little more than bad. It was very bad.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I thought it also was a typo because when I was watching the Kings play against the Nuggets in the first game of the season, at one point they had messed up the score and it said Kings 0, Nuggets like 19,400 and something.
Now, if we're talking Kings from like a handful of years ago, maybe.
I might have believed it. But, you know, there's been a couple times where the score's been messed up. So when I saw 77-27, I saw it was the Clippers.
Maybe they meant 57, 67.
Yeah, maybe they messed up. But
they did not mess up. The only person that messed up is the Clippers.
In their defense, not really. Kawhi wasn't playing.
But also, playoff Paul, man, 15 points.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
When you have your bench get outscored by like one player from the Mavericks, that's.
It was absolutely horrible. The final score was 124-73. It was an absolute horrible game. Hopefully, they never repeat that for the next decade. No team wants to lose by that many points. That is sad, and I almost knocked them out of my top 5 just because of that one game.
For that,
they've only lost one game. Your one loss.
Your one loss is that. I don't understand it.
I don't get how you lose that much. They lost Kawhi. He had took an elbow to the jaw by Serge Ibaka in the game before and ended up sitting out. He bled a lot from that hit. It was a pretty strong elbow to the face. I understand why.
It was a good elbow. I think Tony Ferguson would be proud.
Oh, yeah, Tony Ferguson would be very proud about that elbow, especially with all the blood that came out. Tony Ferguson would be sitting there just smiling creepily in the shadows,
like usual,
or start just breakdancing randomly. But yeah, that's the Clippers so far. I hope they continue to play like they won in those 3 games and not how they played in that one loss. Number 4 for me, I have the Bucks. The Bucks are also 2-2. One of those losses came where Giannis, former MVP, missed a free throw to tie the game up. Literally, just free throw would have tied the game, but they go to overtime and in a very closely contested game. And he airballed.
Not good. Everything just not good. We see a lot of things from the NBA over this week. It's
not
just,
good.
Most of them can just be described
it's just kind of not good at all. And you hope these early mistakes are kind of get out the way. The season this year started off weird. Just as the season ended weird, it's picked up right where it left off with weirdness. And yeah, we have teams like the Bucks mixing because of an MVP missing. What can be said is an easy free throw to just make. You expect your MVPs to make those free throws.
Yeah. It's not like it was a deep three or anything. It was
it was free throw at the line, knock those in. Other than that, they've looked pretty great this year. Their bench has come alive. Their bench looks really great also. So I think they'll definitely be one of the top teams going forward, obviously, as of right now, with only about, I think the most games anybody's played is 5. But teams are obviously with COVID and stuff like that and scheduling being changed around. Not everybody has the same amount of games played so far, which will most likely be made up near the end of the season. Number 5, right now, I have the Nuggets. The Nuggets, they have lost twice to the Kings so far. Both first time with their full team together. The second time, they did not have Jamal Murray for the second game, and the Kings also pulled that one out. Also winning by 10 the second time and winning in an overtime last-second tip-in by Buddy Hield the first time. So I think the reason I still have them in my top 5 is in their losses to the Kings, their 2 losses, they have played amazing. Michael Porter Jr. looks amazing. He dropped 30 in his last game. Jokic, the Joker, has had a triple-double in both of those losses. Jamal Murray struggled a lot in this first game against the Kings. He ended up fouling out, I believe, right before the overtime hit. But he's very streaky at times. I think his performance in the bubble really kind of put him higher than he actually plays at sometimes. And I feel like that's kind of why people are kind of shocked at how he's been playing so far this season. I think, in my opinion, he will turn it around and he will be great. I don't think he'll be like an MVP candidate at all, but I think he'll definitely be one of the top guards in the league. I think they could definitely flip it around, which is why I have them this high based off of potential, not what they're doing right now. And I think definitely we're in for a very interesting NBA season.
I am really excited for it. I love the top 5. I think that's rock solid when you got going on there, Jalen. Of course, thank you for not putting the Kings in number 1. I know you're really tempted to do that, but held back. At least I think something we could all agree on. We were talking about the Kings, especially as me, like not someone that really has a team. So I don't have like a horse in this race. But the Kings, like Twitter, Instagram, I really do think that they might be the best in the league, and they do a fantastic job with that one, Jalen.
Yeah, they come in second place only to us.
Exactly. Thank you. That's what I'm saying right there. Of course, Twitter at Fourth Long Radio, Instagram at Fourth Long Radio. Technically, we have a Facebook, but don't use it. And now, since we're a week into the season, Jalen, what better time than now to make some total overreactions? Or are they actually not overreactions? They're spot on. We'll see. Because the first one I want to talk about, Jalen, is that to you, the Kings are going to make the playoffs this year. A team that got really close last year. They're really one of the top teams in the league right now this year. Can they do it?
Tied for first in the West right now at 3-1. Definitely.
Probably better than the Clippers. The Kings haven't lost by 50. So
no, we have not lost by 50. That is one thing we have not done. So I think definitely they definitely can make the playoffs if they continue to play at the level they are playing right now. I believe that they can make the playoffs. I think right now, the one thing I didn't like about this NBA season, and I've said it a lot, is they're making a lot of teams play each other back-to-back. Mm-hmm. I do not like teams playing each other back-to-back because usually the teams end up splitting those games because you end up finding out their game plan. It's really hard to change a game plan in one day, and then they end up losing the second game. The Kings' only loss right now is to the Suns after a back-to-back game, which they won the first game. Mm-hmm. And so I don't like that. I don't like that for any team, not even just the Kings, just because I'm a fan of them. I don't like teams
probably going to be a problem in the NHL season, too, because that's exactly how they're doing things as well. It's going to be back-to-back games against the same team.
Yeah,
I'm not the sentiment.
I just feel like it's really hard to come up with a whole new game plan in less than 24 hours before you play the same team again.
I understand it because in like less travel probably makes
COVID. Yeah, I understand it,
but it sucks nonetheless. But Jalen,
I just feel like a lot of teams are going to end up splitting series with teams that they shouldn't be splitting series with.
But the Kings in your book, what's if you had to say right now, because that's what we do on the show, Jalen, we make claims that are probably going to be backed up, hopefully.
Yes.
But what seed are the Sacramento Kings going to be at the end of the season?
I feel like this season is going to have a lot of really close records. I feel like they're going to end up being the 7th seed. I think they end up sneaking away with the 7th seed, and they're just past the 8th seed to where they don't have to worry about the play-in games, but at the same time, they're still just close enough. I think the battle for the last couple of seeds are going to be really, really close, and I feel like those I feel like a play-in team's the 8th seed away from somebody. I think they can definitely be the 7th seed, probably at best. I feel like at some point they're going to get figured out, and they're not going to start winning too much. I feel like they're going to play up to high potential, but I definitely think they either miss playoffs or they end up sneaking in at like a 7th or 8th seed.
All right, now the next statement is going to be kind of the opposite, and that is that the Houston Rockets are going to miss the playoffs this season. As right now they're 0-2, and they haven't looked good in their games. Kind of sucks that you don't really have James Harden because for the aforementioned reasons. But Jalen, how much weight does this statement hold right now?
I think it holds a lot as of right now because of the reasoning of their losses. A lot of good teams lose early in the NBA season trying to get stuff figured out, kind of getting used to the new players on your team, whereas they do have 2 big stars now in John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins now on their roster. Those are 2 big additions. And so I feel like it's a little bit of that is why they're losing right now. They're trying to get that chemistry back down with those 2 stars now joining the team. And then also with the big aforementioned reasoning of James Harden visiting strip clubs to find his athletic trainers. I'm guessing one of his trainers is now a stripper.
Very nice.
But he came in out of shape. Or out of shape for him. He was chubby coming into the season. Obviously, he's still in better shape than a lot of just basic people in the world.
Yep.
But he did come in out of shape for an NBA player. He did come and break a couple of COVID rules early. And it's kind of been like the Rockets team has not made it a secret that they don't want him there. Some teammates have not made it a secret that they don't want him there. He's been kind of seen as kind of just like his own thing. Like if the Rockets Harden, like James Harden is there too. I feel like for them, they either need to fix that relationship or they need to get rid of him because I feel like this is going to last so long. And with the 10 less games this season than that we normally have in a season, you of giving up games early on in the season that might end up costing you seeding. Even if they get put in a bad seeding. Yeah, you can't do it. And with seeding this year, with it being so close, the way the season is this year, you don't want to get put in a tough game early on in playoffs. If you end up getting swept by a team that you should have easily beat in normal circumstances, that's your own fault for losing these early games, which can come down to be very important later on down the road.
And now the last kind of question I want to pose to you, Jalen, is that are the Orlando Magic, who currently sit on top of the East at 4-0, are they going to be the team to beat out of the East this year?
No.
Oh, damn.
I think this is probably our biggest overreaction. I think the Orlando Magic look nice, but I think it is the fact that their main core of the team is still there. They have a lot of young people who meshed really well together starting early, and I feel like that together has allowed them to sneak out of a lot of games so far early in the season to be 4-0. I think at some point the rookies are going to start playing like rookies. And I feel like their young core at some point, experience from other teams is going to catch up, and they're going to lose some games.
If not them, is it going to be like a team that's kind of in the middle of the pack right now between maybe the Heat, the Bucks, something like that? Is it going to be the Celtics? Is it going to be the Nets? Who do you think? Your team to beat right now in the East. Okay, let me rephrase this. The number 1 seed at the end of the season out of the Eastern Conference is going to be?
I think it's going to be the Bucks or the Nuggets. Those are the two teams I think are going to be going for it. With Jokic, right now, I'm pretty sure he's averaging a triple-double.
Sorry, not
obviously,
the Nuggets, because that's, of course, the West, Jalen.
Oh, I said the Nuggets, huh? I did. Yeah. The Bucks, my bad.
It's okay. We forgive you. It's been a little bit. But the Bucks, I mean, might as well just talk about them then, because if you think the Bucks are going to be the number 1 seed out of that, they did just set a record for most amount of three-pointers in the game with 29 when they blew out their Heat in their first game of the two. And to your point about splitting these two games, yes, the Bucks blow out the Heat in the first one, then the Heat go back, and then they beat the Bucks in game 2. So
yes,
I think your point is accurate as of now. But at least
we've seen a lot of back and forth series so far. A lot of teams will either win the first game or they win the second game. Very few teams have won both.
The NBA is going to be everyone. We're going to have just a bunch of 500 teams out each conference, and
it's just the Bucks are going to be dangerous. I don't know if you guys have all seen it, but if you haven't. For me, it did look kind of like travel. But there was a play about, I think, as of right now, about a day or two ago. Yeah. Giannis bounced the ball one time from half court. He took 3 steps, but I think they called it a gather step, so it was 2 steps, and dunked the ball with one dribble. He literally caught the ball, bounced it one time, and was at the court.
That's not okay.
That is
that shouldn't be physically possible.
It shouldn't be.
How long
as long as Giannis is doing stuff like that, they're going to be a tough team to beat.
And that's just ridiculous. But I mean, they scored 29 3-pointers in this game. Of course, like I said, they're 29 for 51. They're shooting threes at a 57% clip, which is phenomenal. And they beat the previous record of just 27. And so this from the Bucks and transform their team. If they are able to keep up this 3-point shooting, no one's going to be able to keep up with that. Remember the Splash Brothers from the Warriors when they were still good, and that was obviously right. That was, of course, an unstoppable offense. The Bucks have something in the works with this, and that, like to your point, could make them the team to beat in the East. And now another thing, Kevin Durant, of course, has made his return this season. He's currently second on the Nets in scoring with 26.7 points per game. He's behind only Kyrie Irving, who has 29.3. Kyrie's having actually a pretty solid start to the season right now. I mean, Kevin Durant's played in 3 games so far as a recording. He has a player efficiency rate of 28.27, which is also only behind Kyrie Irving, who has a 33.54. League average is 15. Wow. But also, I know there's some fun stats for you, but just overall, how do you think Kevin Durant's looked in his return from injury?
I think Kevin Durant's looked like Kevin Durant. Like, he hasn't looked like he improved, but at the same time, he didn't really look like he had a lot to improve on.
Probably the biggest thing, right? I mean, you can't really improve on pretty much MVP caliber stuff. At least he didn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like he declined too much.
He's healthy, so that's an improvement. He's healthy. So as we've seen for his entire career, when healthy, he's one of the best players in the league and will continue to be.
Some people say second best in the league or first, depending on who you ask. It also depends on how much you hate LeBron James.
Yep, exactly. And also, all of his stats are only behind Kyrie, who's on his team. So it's like, you're like, oh, I'm second best player in the league right now. Behind who? Oh, my point guard.
Second best on his team, at least. He's second on the Nets in those two. But of course,
but that team is
solid.
dominating.
And Kyrie's good. Kyrie's looked legit this year. So, I mean, Kevin Durant, if you're a fan of him, if you're a fan of the Nets, this move is kind of working out so far. I mean,
so far, so good.
When the Kevin Durant's healthy, he's a fun player to watch. Even though he could be the bad guy, he could be the snake, he could be the guy that just went to the Warriors to grab a ring and dip. But it's still a phenomenal talent. And basketball is always better when he's in the game, so this is great to see.
Yeah.
But a guy that's having a great start to the season to a guy that's having the worst start in his career to a season is Russell Westbrook, freshly traded from the Houston Rockets to the Wizards. He's currently the Wizards are currently 0-4, the worst team in the league right now, pretty much, essentially. I mean, Westbrook he's 44th in the league and scoring with only 19 points per game. This is a guy that's setting back-to-back records of triple doubles, a guy that's almost always scoring the ball. And he's just shooting a 10% three-point percentage so far this season. He has a career percentage of 30%. Mm-hmm. So, what's his problem?
I don't know.
Is it the new team? Is it the new team?
I think this has always been a problem for him. I feel like he goes through these phases in a couple game spans of having horrible shot percentage and horrible scoring. But at the same time, he's still a good enough player. He does get the triple-double, so he ends up helping out in other ways. But this team has a problem. I'm not exactly sure what the problem is stemming from. Obviously, the problem is they're not scoring enough points, basic basketball. But the team is pissed off. Like, as you can see after the last game, Westbrook was on the bench just looking like, what the hell's going on? Mm-hmm. And Bradley Beal, who's usually one of the nicer players in the league, usually always talk to media, win or lose. He didn't tell the media to F off, but he pretty much said F off.
He got the message.
they just left. He just left. He didn't want to talk to anybody. He didn't want to talk about the game. He didn't want to talk about the
don't get fined.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't even show up to say that. He just left. Like he was like, I'm not having any of this, and he just left. I think that with the weird start of the season, usually actually we'd be in like the middle of the season right now, getting close to the end. I think a lot of players are playing like that. Like a lot of players are starting to go through their slumps early, because usually this would be the time they slumped to the end or middle of the season normally. So I think a lot of players kind of clocks are off right now.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Knowing him, he's probably going to pick it up, but like you said, shorter season. He's going to have to do it soon, otherwise they're going to be in a bit of trouble with this one, huh? But there we go. We got the NBA stuff back, and I'm so happy it's back. All of you has missed it. We got our coverage back, and so it's time to celebrate. And Jalen, it's nice to kind of knock the rust off a little bit too. Get your season opener going.
Yeah, I'm ending the year and starting the year with a great show so far.
It's the best, and let's keep it rolling. Let's go into the MLB. Just a short story here, because if you have been paying attention to anything, the Padres, watch out. But the Padres might be trying to be the best team in the league next year. And they're going all in on the World Series. Because, of course, last year they they beat the Cardinals 2-1 in the opening round. They were swept by the Dodgers in the second round of the playoffs. A phenomenal team, young guys. Like, Tatis is a superstar in the making, without a doubt. I mean, Man Machado's still a good player, even though he's kind of a douche. He's still a good player. And now, and your pitching core was good. I'm 8th in the league with a 3.86 ERA. And now you're only making your team that much better, because over the last couple of days, they've brought in through trade Blake Snell, the AL Cy Young winner from the Rays, he had a 3.24 ERA. You bring in Yu Darvish, who had a 3.47 ERA last year, one of the most dangerous pitchers in the AL, the only reason that the Rangers had any bit of talent on their team last year. Mm-hmm. Now they've also signed a Korean baseball organization star Ha Seong Kim, who played third base and shortstop in Korea. Not really sure what he'll play right now because, of course, we have Tatis at short, Machado at third. Would not be surprised. Maybe move Machado to first, and then you put Kim at third. I feel like Machado.
I'd probably move him to second. I'd probably have those two over there together in second. I'd probably move him to second base. I like that move.
Nice. That'd be nice. That infield could be absolute load because,
loaded.
Not only do you bring great pitchers, but this guy, Kim, he batted a 306 last year with 30 home runs in their Korean baseball season. And he's legitimate. So this Padres team.
He's nice.
If I'm the Dodgers, especially in that division, let's not even talk about the Giants because the Giants that's not going to be a good matchup. But the Padres are coming for the Dodgers, and the Dodgers actually might have to be scared about this.
Go Giants.
No.
Every time you talk bad about the Dodgers, you have to say go Giants.
No, I don't. I don't have to do either because I don't like either. But what do you think? What do you think about this Padres team? Are you worried, especially as your favorite team is in their division? How worried are you about this?
I see a lot of strikeouts coming. I don't know. I see a lot of strikeouts and double plays. This is scary. Like that is a scary lineup. Like if I've ever seen a scary lineup, that is a scary lineup. This is as scary as when we heard Aaron Judge and Stanton were going to be in the same batting lineup together. This is that level of scary in a lineup.
But of course, just like on the other side and defensively, it's just that rotation is going to be good.
Like I don't see there's some team rotations where like, oh, so and so's taking a break today. Nah, I don't know if we're gonna pull this one out. But this one's like, oh, so and so's taking a break today. And it's like, okay, it's fine. We'll just move him here. We'll be fine.
Who needs a bullpen when you got a starting rotation like this? You're probably gonna have a team ERA of like below 3.5.
Imagine if all their starting pitchers get one shutout.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if that's too far off.
Both of those guys who they just signed have the ability to throw a no-hitter. And they now have two of those on the roster, plus the roster that they already had.
The Padres, man, I actually really like the Padres, especially they still have one. Their trade to get Yu Darvish, they sent like 5 or 6 prospects to the Cubs. It was like a multi-team trade. It was one of those messy baseball trades. Mm-hmm. But the Cubs, they're looking to rebuild a little bit, but the Padres, they're looking to win the World Series this season, and I'm super excited to see what happens with them. I am putting a lot of stock into them right now. I can't wait for the season to start.
I can't wait for that Thanos meme to happen. It's like, what did it cost? And it was all right.
About Tree Fitty.
My tree fitty.
And now, Jen, let's cap things off. Let's cap episode 55 off with our official NCAA College of Football Playoffs. Of course, this goes down the day that this drops on Friday, New Year's Day. And I am super excited for this because we got some good matches. But first, the 4 teams from 1 to 4 is Bama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Notre Dame. And Notre Dame does not deserve to be in the playoffs. Texas A&M, you guys got screwed.
Bad.
And even Ohio State, I know you guys won your conference. You're 6-0, so you're technically undefeated. But 6 wins. The conference, the team you beat was Northwestern. Is that really number 3 team in the country? Is that really number 3 team in the country?
Not at all.
I prefer Cincinnati, damn it. But also, to be honest, I'm really excited for the Cincinnati versus Georgia game. Ooh.
I'm pretty for that game.
I'm pumped for that. But the first game we have is going to be the Rose Bowl. Of course, it's not going to be playing in California because California hates sports. It's going to be playing in Texas this year. Yeah, I know that cuts deep for you, Jalen. Let's not get into it.
Oh no, it's fine.
You're smiling through the pain. It's feeling great. But we're going to have Alabama against number 4 Notre Dame. Alabama opens up as 20-point favorites in this one. Of course, Notre Dame's last game, which is why they should have been in, they lost 34-10 in the ACC championship game to Clemson. Of course, they did beat Clemson early in the year in overtime, but that was
without their starting quarterback.
That was without starting quarterback. That was without some other players because of COVID and that kind of stuff. But Bama has scored at least 38 points in every game this season, and they scored 38, their lowest, in their first game of the year. The last 10 games, they put up 40 on their opponents, and it's hey Jalen, I'm gonna take the spread, but also I'm gonna take it by like another touchdown. Let's get 27-point favorites. I will bet on that because this game, it's not going to be close. Alabama just boat races Notre Dame in this one, and they move on easily to the finals, to the championship game.
In my opinion, when you are deciding who makes the playoffs, first off, I think that it should expand slightly. I think they should
18 playoff would be perfect. 18,
yes,
but of
they
course,
should expand.
We're never going to get that because we're not lucky enough as sports fans. We deserve to suffer.
No. But second of all, I think if you have lost to another team who has made playoffs by at least double digits, meaning like 20, 30, you shouldn't get to make it because you're probably going to lose to that same exact team by guess what?
Yeah.
20 or 30 points. So, for them to not have to go up against a better team that is probably would have beat Clemson by like 20, 30 points. They're going to get demolished. I say Alabama puts up at least 30 to 40 in the first half. It's going to look like that the first game. We're going to lose by 50.
Oh, no. Oh, no. This is...
I'm a big underdog fan. I hope Notre Dame beats Alabama somehow.
And the crazy thing, the weakness of this Alabama team is their defense, which is 7th in the country.
Oh my God, no! 7th, it's like this is like,
and especially with what we've seen from Kyle Trask in his game of the Cotton Bowl, 3 interceptions in the first quarter. Looks like Alabama has the Heisman winner from this year, Mac Jones too. So, hey, Notre Dame, it was nice knowing you. Say your Hail Marys, cause you're gonna die.
You're gonna die. It doesn't look good. Like I don't like unless like
I
Matt
don't
Jones
see any scenario in which Notre Dame comes out of this with a win. I don't.
Even if Alabama's entire starting lineup got COVID, I think their entire second string would still be Notre Dame.
Okay. Let's pump the brakes.
No, that is not even an overstatement. I think the entire second string team of Alabama is better than Notre Dame's starters.
Okay, I think that's an overstatement, Jalen. I understand the exaggeration. I think we need to chill, but
do we not remember when Alabama had a current about to win the Heisman, Matt Jones, Tua, and Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good point. Let's go into the Sugar Bowl. So, of course, we are both going with Alabama in this one. The next game is going to be the Sugar Bowl. That's Clemson against Ohio State, which is going to be a lot better game, especially on the betting odds. Clemson only opens up as 7.5-point favorites. And I do like this. I think it's going to be a really close game still. I think it's going to be solid, but I still like, I mean, call me basic for picking the favorites in this one, but I like Clemson. I like Clemson by 4 points in this game. I'm not going to bet the spread. I'm going to take the under on the spread on this one, but I still see Clemson advancing to yet another Alabama-Clemson championship game.
I see this game going to Clemson, but I see it kind of starting kind of bad. And I feel like it's going to be kind of like a similar game from a couple of years ago, Oklahoma versus Alabama. Alabama got to a really good start, and Oklahoma kind of closed it but didn't have enough time left to close the game out. I think that's how it's going to be. I think Ohio State's going to be really bad to start the game. I think Clemson's going to look like a blowout early. I think Ohio State's going to start making some moves late in the game, but I think Clemson overall will pull this game.
And so that is going to give us both a Alabama-Clemson national championship game. Clemson has made 4 of the 6 national championship games in 2015, 16, and then 18 and 19. Of course, they've won 2 of them. They're 2-2. They've played Alabama 3 times in this one, and they're 2-1 against Alabama. And I see them going up 3-1 against Alabama with this one. Give me Dabo Swinney. Give me the greatest quarterback in college football history, and Trevor Lawrence. Joey Burrow? No, it's Trevor Lawrence. They're going to beat Alabama by 2 points in the national championship game. I'm taking that game, Jalen. I'm going to give you my points prediction with this. It's going to be 45-43 Clemson.
I got this in the 30s. I got 30s each team.
Okay.
I got like a 34, 37-ish type.
Mm-hmm. Who you see taking this one then?
I think Alabama. I like Najee Harris. I think Najee Harris is going to be the big game changer in this. I think both quarterbacks are not struggle for them, but not for an average.
They relatively struggle.
Relatively struggle. I think it's going to be a defensive game, but Najee Harris is going to break
relatively out. Defensive.
He's going to score for like four touchdowns. There's going to be passing wise. Defensive, like defensive DBs are going to be going crazy, but I think Najee Harris is going to run for like 4 touchdowns against Clemson. Have him running wild. I think a couple of them will be like short yardage touchdowns. I think he's going to be the decision between these two. I think both quarterbacks are going to play about the same, and I think it's going to come down to Etienne and Najee Harris, and I think Najee Harris ends up pulling out the win for Alabama.
I'm super excited because both those running backs, Etienne, he's phenomenal. He's going to be making some good stuff. He's going to be a good draft pick. Definitely a first rounder. Najee Harris is a phenomenal running back in his own right. This is going to be a really good game. I really hope we get Bama versus Clemson.
Oh, yeah. I just want to see it. I don't care who wins. It's a fantastic rivalry, too. Honestly, this is one of the few times on this show where I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I just want to see football.
Then that's the best. It's always sucks because like there's some games where I don't have a dog in the fight, but I always find myself rooting for someone because I hate myself and I can't just enjoy a football game no matter how hard I try.
Honestly, sometimes there's times I watch like a football game and like I don't care who wins, but then like fourth quarter hits and like there's a team down by like 10 and I'm like, you can do it.
Right. But official national championship predictions, I'm taking Clemson over Alabama 45-43. And Jalen, you're going to be taking Alabama over Clemson with the final score 37-34.
35-34.
I can't wait for this. Oh, it can't get here soon enough. But with that being said, though, that's going to wrap it for us, episode 55 of the Fourth Long Podcast. Before we end things off, just want to give a big shout out to our Patreon sponsors. Of course, you can go over to patreon.com/fourthandlong to become a member. Just $1 a month gets you started. And at the very least, it gets you a shout out like this in every show. You also go to the $5, then also do the $10, which gets you behind the scenes. And it gets you all shows early, especially interviews, which is going to be phenomenal. You get the behind the scenes of interviews, and also you get behind the scenes of what we do before and after our shows, which is stuff that's a little more explicitive. Can't really not really sponsor friendly.
Honestly, before we start our show, we kind of get out all the extra trash talk and the bull.
Y'all want to know how we get the energy going for the show? You're gonna want to listen to that. Like I said,
honestly, I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but some of our funniest stuff happens before the show even starts recording.
And I would love to have a point where we don't need sponsors because that's a funny stuff right there. But of course, Jalen, we're broke. We need sponsors.
Absolutely broke. I will sell out.
Shout out to our guys right now. Ray Rodriguez. Go check out his Instagram at Big Back Box for all your card collecting needs. Go check out Ryan Watson. Shout out to him. Then also Neil Wiley. Check out his YouTube, Chosen Problems. And with that being said, Jalen, so great to have you back on. Just episode 55 really rolls off the tongue well. It's a cool number.
Yeah. End of the year with 55.
Right? Oh, no, we're starting the year technically with 5-5.
And you guys won't see this till 5-5.
Hey, guys. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Make sure www.thefourthandlong.com, Twitter @fourthlongradio, Instagram @fourthlongradio. Check out the Patreon, like I said, and look forward to next. Check out our interviews. We've had some great ones. Smiling Sam, Alvy, Corey McKenna. Of course, going back to Josh Emmett, we had a bunch of really good. Sasha Platnikov won a performance of the night bonus in his debut. Justin James, he got a performance bonus in his debut as well. Some phenomenal stuff right there. Have a great New Year's, and Jalen, it's a pleasure talking to you. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you in the next year. I hate myself.
Me too.